So we're doing sticky toffee roulade today. This is one of my favourite cakes. Once you make it, you'll be making it again and again. It's very easy to make as well. Right, first things first guys, grab your kettles and fill some water in there. So you need about 2 cups roughly of water in your kettle and boil your kettle. My kettle is so loud. Okay, if you've put your kettle on, the next thing you need to do is get your food processor. So whether it's a jug blender or a food processor, anything will do. So get your food processor and put that with the blade inside. Make sure the blade's inside and put that on your scale. And then we're going to turn our scale on and you're going to get your dates. What you're going to do is you're going to put them in one by one. So what you're going to do is take off the top bit, the bit that's stuck onto the plant. Okay, take that off and you're going to break your date in half. Okay, take your seed out. Okay, put that to the side and then put your cleaned date. So you took the seed out, took the top off and put that into your food processor. Okay, and we're going to keep doing that until we get up to 160 grams of dates. Okay, and there we go. If it goes over by 2 or 3 grams, that's absolutely fine. The next thing you need to do is add in 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So not baking powder, bicarbonate of soda, okay, into your dates. And this is going to help soften your dates up. A level teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda into your dates. Okay, now you're going to put your scale back on 0. Okay, so leave your jug on there, put your scale back on 0. Your boiling water, okay, and you're going to pour in 180 milliliters of boiling water. So keep an eye on it as you pour it in. You need 180 milliliters. So that's the same as 180 grams of water into your food processor. And then you're just going to get a spoon and you're just going to mix that in so that the dates are soaking in the water. And then you're just going to get your lid of your food processor and stick that on and then put that to the side. So we're just going to leave the dates to soak in the boiling water with the bicarb, okay, to help soften them up just for a few minutes while we get on with the rest of the things. And while we're waiting for that to do its thing, we're going to get our baking tray and we're going to line it, okay? So your tray should be roughly 11 by 9 inches, but it can be slightly bigger, slightly smaller, that's fine. It doesn't have to be exactly, but roughly about that size. I'm just using my oven tray because it's roughly that size. And what you want to do is you want to put enough baking paper in there. So mine's wide enough to cover the whole width of it. And you want to make sure that some goes up the sides of the tray as well. Okay, and we're going to grease this, okay? And the reason why we need to grease this is because the cake is quite a sticky mixture with the dates in there. So we need to make sure we grease this so that the cake doesn't stick to the grease-proof paper. If you wanted, just to help your baking paper stick to the side, to your tray, you can grease your tray a little bit. So I sometimes do that just to help the baking paper stay in place. There we go. So your tray should be lined, okay? You should have baking paper going up the sides and you should have greased your baking paper, okay? And now that our tray is lined, we are going to put the oven on. So we're going to preheat the oven, 180 gas mark 4. Right, so you're going to get your scale again, bring your scale back, you get yourself a bowl, okay, get yourself an empty bowl, put it on your scale, put your sieve on top of your scale, turn your scale on, and you're going to weigh out 110 grams of self-raising flour into your sieve. 110. There you go. Which you're going to then sift into your bowl by gently just tapping your sieve up on your hand, just like that. And you can use the back of a spoon to get rid of any last lumps. Okay, so once you've weighed your flour, you can put that to the side and then bring your food processor back. Is process this together. So put your food processor on top of your machine, okay, and you're going to blitz this. So it's only got dates, water and bicarb in there, and we're going to blitz it until it's nice and smooth, okay. Okay, so that seems like it's done. I'm just going to give it a little mix and then I'm going to put it on again for a couple of seconds just to check that there's no big lumps left of dates in there. Okay, so that seems okay. And you should end up with something that looks like this. So you should have no big date lumps in there. Okay, it should be a smooth paste. Get your scale again. Okay, so you're getting your scale, put that down and put your food processor back on top of your scale again. Put your scale on 0. And then we're going to weigh out the butter in here. You want salted butter for this recipe, not unsalted, because the salt helps balance the sweetness in this cake, okay? Just cut it up into small cubes and put it in bit by bit as you weigh it, as we usually do, okay? So you want 50 grams of salted butter. So I'm weighing out 50 grams of salted butter into my food processor. If you do have unsalted butter, then yeah, just add I'd say about 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there. So once you've put your butter in there, the next thing we're going to weigh out in there is the brown sugar. Scale back on 0. Always put your scale back on 0 before you weigh anything else. And we're going to weigh out 150 grams of soft brown sugar straight into here, straight into your food processor. Once you've put that in, then you need to process this again until it's mixed in again, okay? Right, and you should have a nice luscious mixture like that that looks kind of caramelly. So once you've done that, once you've blended the butter and the sugar, we're going to now add in our eggs, okay? So you need to crack in 2 eggs straight into that mixture in your blender. Go straight into that mixture. Now we're going to also add in the flour that we sifted earlier into the bowl, okay? So the flour that we weighed and sifted into the bowl, we're going to put all of that into our food processor as well. Just carefully put it all in. And now we're just going to blitz this again, and that will be our cake batter done. You want to make sure that you don't over mix it, okay? So you just want to mix it enough so that the flour has blended into there. Okay, and that's it. Our cake batter is done. So you're going to get your lined tin or tray that you used before, okay? And you want to pour all your batter into your tray. Use a spatula to scoop it all out. No wastage, 0 wastage. Scrape all of it out of your food processor. And what you want to do is spread it out all the way, so make sure you get your batter into the corners of the tray, okay? So just use your spatula and feed your batter into the corners of the tray as well, and make sure it's all nice and level. So it's quite a runny batter, okay? So the cake's going to be very, very moist, but that's how it's supposed to be, okay? So I like to pick it up and give it a little shake like that, just so that it levels itself off. Okay, and now we're going to bake this in the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, so our ovens are already preheated, and we're going to bake our cake for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes, that's it. So once your cake is baked, what you're going to do is leave it a few minutes to cool down in the tray, so literally about 5 minutes. And then while it's still warm, you want to get the edge of your baking paper and you want to fold or roll up your cake while it's warm, okay? So roll the whole cake with the baking paper on, don't take it off the baking paper, and roll the whole cake up like this and leave it to set like this for like a couple of minutes, and then unroll it, okay? And this will help your cake, a bit sticky, so this will help your cake hold its shape and stop it from cracking when you fold it later on and when you fill it, okay? I'm going to show you how to fill your cake. So first of all, we're going to whip up the cream. I'm going to do it in my stand mixer because it's a lot easier. Okay, so I've got my bowl and my stand mixer, and I'm going to use the whisk attachment. Okay, and you can just use your normal hand mixer, and you're not going to add anything to the cream. All of your cream goes into the bowl, and we're not adding anything to the cream. We're just going to whip it, and you want to whip it until it holds a stiff peak, but not like too stiff. Okay, so medium stiff peak. Okay, it's not completely done, but I just want to show you what it looks like now. Okay, so it's gone slightly stiff, but we don't want to over whip it. Okay, so it's starting to hold its shape, but it's still too soft. So I want to whip it a little bit more than that. So that looks perfect, okay? Okay, so my cream looks like that, okay? So once your sponge has cooled completely, then you can start filling it. Okay, so you want to take your caramel, so either your ready-made caramel or the caramel that you make at home, whatever you like, and you're going to spread this a very thin layer all over the cake. Okay, so this is the top of my cake and that's the bottom of the cake. You want the bottom of the cake to be on the outside, so that's why you're filling the top part of the cake. Okay, so this cake is very fragile, so you want to be very careful with it. Okay, so I like to take the caramel out in a separate bowl and just beat it lightly, just so that it softens before I use it onto the sponge. Okay, and then you want to put a thin layer of caramel on the entire sponge. Okay, and spread it out. You can use the back of a spoon or you can use your palette knife. Just a thin layer of caramel on the whole of the cake. And now we're going to put our cream on top. Okay, so get your cream, just put dollops of it everywhere. So you just need a thin layer of cream, so I'm just going to use my cranked palette knife just to help spread it. So you want to leave literally about an inch on this side without any cream, because as you roll this, the cream's going to push forward slightly. So it's okay if you leave a tiny bit on the edge without any cream, like about an inch or so on one side. So once you've evenly spread your cream, you're going to start rolling your cake. So you start from one side and then you roll onto the other side. So the short ways, you're going to roll that down. Okay, I'm just going to turn it around so it's easier for me to roll. Okay, so that's the bit that I left without the cream on that side. Okay, we're going to start from this edge. I'm going to use the baking paper. I'm going to fold it in a little bit. Okay, just like that. So the cake's folded in. Okay, and then I'm going to use the baking paper. I put one hand here to support the cake, and then one hand here. I'm going to lift the baking paper, and I'm going to use the baking paper to push the cake forward, and then continue rolling with the other hand, just like this. Okay. You might get the odd little crack here and there, but majority of it won't. You won't get big cracks in there. And it should look like that when you're done. And then you want to move it onto your serving plate. Put mine on the chopping board. Okay. So you want to put your cake onto your serving board, just like that. Roll it on. And then to decorate it, a couple of things, okay? So you can sift some icing sugar onto here. So I've got some icing sugar in a little sieve. I'm just going to sift it on, okay, onto the cake. Make it look nice and pretty. And then I'm going to get a little piping bag. So you just about a tablespoon of your caramel in your piping bag. Squeeze it till it comes down. Just cut off the end. So just a tiny tip that I've cut off, okay, not a lot. And then I want to just pipe lines on this, okay? Start at one end and just pipe caramel lines. Now ideally, when you serve this cake, you want to be able to see the spiral, okay? So what you want to do is cut off the ends. Obviously you can keep those in a plate and eat them, don't waste them or throw them away, but just so that you can see that spiral shape. So I'm just going to cut it off and show you. And you have your lovely spiral shape showing. Look, it was so easy to make. You literally just bung everything in a food processor, blitz it and stick it in the oven, and it bakes in 15 minutes. So how easy can it get? I hope you really enjoyed that. That is one of my most favorite cakes to make and eat. So I hope you enjoyed that recipe. Let me know once you try it, and also please send me your pictures as well. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of your family. I'll see you on Friday, guys. Take care. Don't forget to send me your pictures. Inshallah. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bye bye.